Come on in.
Invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. Because it's floating, Yogi book club. We about to go in, y'all. My goodness. The book has just been getting so juicy. We've been diving and talking about all different intricacies that come up within creating your own health and wellness practice, within going through this yoga journey, changing our perspectives and how we see and relate to ourselves, our body, the world around us. So with that being said, I am the Floating Yogi, and this is Floating Yogi's Book Club, brought to you by Yogi, Urban Yogi Wellness and Education, where we are restructuring health and wellness in the community, one healthy habit at a time. Speaking of healthy habits, some of the people who help keep me on track, some of the people who we can be, hold ourselves accountable to, some of the people who help me do what I do. We got my dude DJ Tony. He's part of the crew. He comes from a dimension where people are our greatest resource, and as I'm speaking, if you don't see this resource in action, man, it's there to make it happen. Check down in the chat. I'm about to pin it on now, and that is how you can sign up to join all of the UE services that we have that are here for you, free 99. All you have to do is pay attention, bro. That's it. Just a little bit going along. You can sign up in the chat. You can sign up on that link, and I'll let him tell you about some of the other services and things that he offers while I start pinning stuff and inviting a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. So tell all your friends to come on in. Let's get it.
I am DJ Tony, and I genuinely believe that people are our greatest resource. Maybe when I started, I wasn't sure, but you can be damn sure it's what I'm about now. And every day I get up excited to tell you how excited I am that we might be able to exchange energy. And I do that by letting you know that you are loved. I do that by letting you know that I believe that whatever you hope to accomplish today, that you are entitled to as much of my energy as you can hold to help you do it. After I go live and breathe and pray and start the day, I hop on over to Yogi.dc on Instagram and I hit that movement and meditate button. So that's the answer to the simple question of, do you care about your well-being enough to move and meditate today, or are you bullshitting on your friends? That is a nice, open, general invitation and statement meant for you to take it however you want to take it. It is subjective, which means that if you move today by walking a tenth of a mile, or by doing 5 push-ups, or by doing one sun salutation, or meditating for 1 minute, then we believe that you should be celebrating and you can go on in and join the growth gang. If you care at all, join the growth gang and you get a shout out the very next day. Because I get up the next day and I do it all again.
Come on now, that's how it happens. That's how we can grow together. So, like I said, it's a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of personality, a whole bunch of growth and learning.
Some of the
other people love me. We have Brent. He'll get your digital assets together. Just reach out to him. I'm looking for a market. I got the whole scheme for you, and here's all the assets to post them. All you got to do is choose your time. Let's talk about it. He'll get you up. We also got Lifeform. Lifeform has phenomenal masses. What I use, the majority of the people that I know, they're like, nah, this is great. Even if you're traveling, there's a whole other way to use it. You can fold it up instead of rolling it, and it's so great. Your suitcase. We also can use those slip-resistant mats to learn those on-mat lessons, to bring them to these places and these spaces, to take them off the mat and start to integrate them into our day-to-day life. Also, as far as Payola was saying about sun salutation or meditation, I highly encourage you. Highly encourage you to get a physical practice. Maybe, hopefully, if you're in the DC area, the DMV area, we have a residency in Virginia and Southern Moon Yoga, and we also have one in the Flow Yoga Center in DuPont Circle, DC. Logan Circle, DC. I highly encourage you to come out, get it started, try the
the 10-day
the 10-day special will be enough for you, or the month special will be enough for you to at least have
something.
I'm in such a better space when I'm doing these things and sticking to my routine and holding myself accountable, and then sticking around other people who hold me accountable, but not in like an aggressive way, but in a loving way that helps support me and motivate me towards achieving my goal. Wow, then we really start to see the growth around us. And we're like, hey, I'm gonna come back.
And then I'll see you soon.
I'm with. Play along.
Right, so with that being said,
we got a little bit of a long. Tonight we are reading How Yoga Works. Which chapter? Chapter 32. The Fortress of Little Teens. Are we on 32? Or did the kids? Yeah, we on 32. I just had to make sure the kids didn't all flip the bookmark in the book. Anyway, we're on 32. The book is interesting. It's following this girl traveling through from India to Tibet. She gets arrested, and now she has to teach the captain of the jail yoga to prove that this book she has isn't stolen, and that she this book that she has isn't stolen, even though the captain has just recently admitted that he knows that this is her book and that he can teach her yoga because he just taught her yoga, but he still can't let her go. Oh my gosh, the conundrum, the drama. Chapter 30. Hey, what up, Yogi Posture? What up, Ali J? Hey. Hopefully y'all still in this thing, swinging my way. we about to get the ball rolling.
Alright, the Fortress
of Little Things.
Second week of October. The corporal led
me back to my cell that day.
And we ran into
the sergeant standing in front of the Suiku's cell, screaming and banging his stick on the bar. Idiot! He blustered. Why? You can't even steal a cow right. So what makes you think that you can get this right? Idiot. Am I? Idiot? Am I? Roared Basuku, nose to nose with the sergeant through the bars, his chubby red face and his little belly quaking.
Just
come inside here for 1 minute, you brainless stuff. Without that stick, and I'll show you what. Show me what, raved the sergeant. The knuckle bellows Basuku. And then he caught sight of the corporal and me screaming out, Miss Friday, come over here for a moment. If you please. And then to the sergeant, we can settle this right here and now, you know. The corporal ambled over to the two, still clutching my arm, with his mouth wide and all excitement. Good, exclaimed Basuki, his jaw shaking. Now, Miss Friday, listen to this. The sergeant here, after 3 or 4 whole lessons with the captain, you see, he says he's learned the right way of doing the mountain pose from him. And he says the way I do it is all wrong.
Now see,
God.
I can already tell, like, he's too excited. It's not going to turn out of his favor. Like, whatever happens, he's going to be wrong about something. Like, I can feel it.
You gotta be right. We gonna see. Let's see. Because I'm right there with you. Because I was like, hold up. And then it's all this that they raving and yelling, knuckle puzzle. What are you talking about? Hold on, y'all doing some yoga. Y'all arguing about yoga. Okay.
So there's interest
there. Misdirected energy at some point within, you know. But the interest is there. All right, I like this. Let's continue.
I smiled and
started to answer. But the sergeant butted in. I didn't say that the captain taught me the right way, you idiot. I said I figured out the best way to do mountain pose. On your back, you said. You said. Basuku looked at me with the eyes of a condemned prisoner, pleading for his life. Please, Miss Friday. I mean, can you believe it? I mean, the very first pose of all, pose where any fool at all would know. You're just standing there, getting ready to start something like bowling to the, like bowing to the sun, and this miserable excuse for an officer of the law. He says you start out on your back. Can you believe it? Tell him it ain't so. Now they arguing on why he is taught that way, and someone else is taught another way. Let's see.
I opened my mouth
again, but the sergeant cut me off. Look, Basuku, if you have any brains, you just sit down and do it the way I said. And then if it's wrong, well, Miss Friday and even the corporal, I mean, anybody can see that it's wrong in a second. Well, that's just what I'll do, cried Basuku, and he flopped down on the floor on his back with his mighty belly pointing to the sky.
There's a moment of silence. Like I said, declared the sergeant. There it is, the mountain pose. And without any other word, he turned and walked back to the room in the front. Basuku laid on the floor, staring in rage at the ceiling. The corporal was silent for a full 2 minutes, and then turned to me with a look of surprise. I think he said then that the sergeant he has made a joke. And then he stood there and shot. As did I. And poor Basuku as well. At our next class, I came into the captain and said, time to get down to some basic gardening. I mean, the master at this point jumped straight into explaining what the most powerful good seeds are to plant. It's a short list, and it's designed to save us all the time by getting us right into the most crucial kinds of seeds we should be planting. And then the master presents them in such a way that we can also learn their opposites, the kinds of actions that plant really bad seeds, the actions we want to avoid. And then along the way, as we work through the list, I thought we could keep going over more of the questions that would naturally come up in your mind about how the seeds work and produce our world. You're the teacher, exclaimed the captain. And I knew immediately that he had begun to experience the difficulty of it himself. Sort of a sweet revenge that teachers get when their students start taking pupils on their own. Thank you, I said suddenly. Now, the master gives the first powerful way of planting good seeds when he says, when she was talking about the whole, teacher kind of gets a little bit of like just desserts, like a, this is fantastic. Now you see the struggle I was going through when I was trying to explain to you this thing that you just didn't believe. It's okay. You see it with someone else. You're like, no, it is the way. I know it's the way. It's fine. I'm patient. That's my patience. Just breathe. All right. The first form of self-control is avoiding harm to anyone. The self-control part is obvious. Seems like the whole key in self-control. Said the captain. I mean, trying to control your own instincts because they just keep going around and around in that circle of trouble. Bad seeds from yelling at someone before makes us see the boss yelling at us now, and then our natural instinct is to yell back, which happens to be the best way. The only way. I explained. The exact best and only way to plant more seeds to see more bosses yelling at us in the future. But then he hesitated and frowned a bit. Little problem with that, he said. Okay, if I ask. It was good that he was careful about not interrupting the flow of the class, but this was a great way to flow. If I guess correctly what he was about to ask, go ahead. If I guess correctly what he was about to ask, go ahead. I said, suppose that someone does come in and starts yelling at you, or someone. What do you suppose? I mean, just let them go on, realizing that it's your own seeds. And what if, say they go even further and start hitting someone? Beautiful question. I replied. And the answer to that is we have to act. We have to try our very best to stop violence done to anyone. And by doing so, we plant lots of good seeds, you see. As we try to prevent violence being done, we can never do so with hatred or anger.
You see,
because that would be
planting very powerful bad seeds.
We must try to
restrain others who do violence without violence, especially without thoughts of violence.
And
I'll ask you another question. And it's a little difficult. You have to think clearly. His face got that look of official duty.
But he was careful not to do this concentration scowl. Suppose we do
come across someone yelling at someone, or even trying to hurt them physically. And suppose we try to restrain them without malice and without violence. Suppose further that we succeed in doing so, and they stop hurting the other person. I ask you, why has the violence stopped? Why has the violence stopped? The captain nodded and then did scowl with the concentration and finally looked back into my eyes. Why? He said in some wonder, why? I suppose that the violence has stopped for the person to whom it was being committed because their own seeds planted in their own minds by themselves in the past have, well, they've changed. The bad seeds, I suppose, have flowered and spent whatever power they had and disappeared. And now new seeds have ripened to take their place in the flow of that person's day, in the flow of that very person's life. And these new seeds are forcing them to see the violence stop. He paused. Then, before that crucial hurdle, and thinking that we must all one day leap forever behind us. And leave forever behind us. But then, it doesn't really matter whether I try to help or not, he said, most painfully. If the person is being hurt, the seeds to see my efforts help them, then they will. If the person being hurt has seeds to see my efforts help them, then they will. If they don't have any seeds like that, then my efforts won't help them. So why make the effort at all? Ooh. I'm gonna say for yourself. You feel moved. You feel compelled to do so. And you don't act.
I could probably come up with really good reasons. Like, there's never one reason why anything is done. By the period.
Okay. I'm here for it. Oh, I'm here for it. You can't drop that. I can come up with 3 reasons and then go radio silent. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Michelle took my attention for a little bit, but
oh, yeah. Peace, Michelle.
Alright, so if the person being hurt has any seeds to see my efforts help them, then they will. If they don't have any seeds, then my efforts won't help them, so I make the efforts at all. First thing is you don't see all of the results of your action. If I'm doing something with good intention, that's supposed to have good intention, then although I may not see it helping someone, I believe it will. And even if it doesn't tangibly, me putting in the effort and energy to them is a lot of time what some people need. It made me a much better people person and general lover when I realized a lot of people just want to be heard or be felt or be seen or be listened to, or like it was weird because I think I told my therapist, I was like, I'm not a therapist and I don't really feel like I'm doing nothing. And my therapist was like, you're just a great listener, and that's what a lot of people need.
Yeah.
So why make the effort at all? Because you don't see how it helps outside of you. And then on top of that, inside of you, everything you do changes you.
Yeah. So much more than what you see.
Exactly. So maybe the effort is should be positive on the inside no matter what. You should be able to say I am pleased with what I did, even if I cannot see the helpful result it made.
Yeah.
That was like 2 and 3 sub-points each. I think that counts.
I'm rocking with it. Hey, what up, Chris? Welcome.
We talking about
changing seeds, the seeds that
flower
in our mind that create the reality and the perspective in which we see the world.
How do we change
those
in
seed form? All right. So why make the effort at all?
I nodded. This is one of the most
important questions of all.
And
you have to listen carefully to the answer. Never forget. Otherwise, you could one day fall off of the great masters of the past. It's called the cliff of the great mistake.
There are
several issues here.
First of all,
if you notice, we have just explained precisely why it doesn't always work when you try to help someone else. No matter how hard you try or how good your intentions are. That in itself is a sacred lesson
and will
prevent you from ever becoming bitter or hesitant to continue helping others. Should one or two such efforts fail without work, it will give you the strength and the clarity to know that regardless, you must continue to help others. You must devote your life to it. Secondly, it's important to realize that the person you may be helping is the most is the person who was committing the violence.
I paused
to let him pick up the thread of the thought. Because he's in the process of planting tremendous negative seeds in his own mind. He's inflicting future pain upon himself, which far exceeds whatever he's doing to his victim at the moment. And then the captain added, because of the way that the seeds grow into things so much bigger than themselves. Exactly. I said, so really, your act of kindness here towards the person doing the violence, that's why it's so crucial that you avoid hating him as you try to restrain him.
You stop
him because you love him, murmured the captain. Such sweet thoughts.
And then finally, I said,
you are doing sort of a cosmic public service whenever you risk yourself to stand up against violence. First of all, people see your example. They take hope.
And they follow.
Secondly, here's perhaps the kindest thing you're doing. You are consciously planting extraordinary new seeds in your own mind when you take a stand against violence being done to another. If you truly master this ultimate form of gardening, if you succeed in working with your own seeds so well that the inner chambers undergo a profound change, and you become a being of pure light within a world of the same light, well then you really have a gift to offer all the living kind. And you will. Because whatever you've done yourself, you can show others how to do. Mused the captain. I see, Miss Friday. I see. I really see. And thank you for that.
We paused,
both of us for a moment, both dreaming of the day. And then I took us back to the master's first form of self-control.
So self-control.
That's it. As the master leads.
It's
just keeping yourself from making problems for yourself.
I like that. Self-control, just keeping
yourself from making problems for yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty
simple.
And that's one of the most
important ideas in the master's whole book.
Not eating too much.
You know,
not sticking to your
wellness routine. You know,
I said from the heart.
It's the whole thing about,
and that's
one of the most important ideas in the master's whole book. I said from my heart. It's the whole thing about working with seeds, with gardening.
Really just
trying to shape our future.
And it's exciting.
You see,
Because since everything works through seeds, then we finally have a choice in the matter. We can consciously and purposefully design and build our own future into a garden paradise. We're finally in control of what happens in our lives, or rather, we're in control of what will happen in our lives, as the master puts it. The pain that we are riding ourselves up, the pain that we are ridding ourselves of, is all the pain that would have come to us in the future. Thinking about the yoga practice with that mindset. I love it. Ridding myself of the pain that I'm going to feel in the future. I'm here for it. Moving forward. It means you can't stop the pain of the present moment just by working at it in ways that life has already shown us that don't really work. You can't put your hand on a huge mango tree and push it back into the ground. It's too late. We have to deal at the level of the seed. We have to deal at the level of the seeds before they start growing into huge things. They will become. We are gardening for the future. But how long? Demanded the captain. How far into the future? How long does it take before the seeds we're working with today give their effect in the future? It's coming. Okay. We'll get to that. We have to get to it. But I can tell you now that there are special ways of making the seeds grow almost instantaneously. And of course, I will teach them to you. I must. Now, back to the idea of self-control. Learning not to lay things around your cosmic house that you're just going to stump your toe on later. I like that metaphor too. Ooh. She about to get into the yamas and niyamas, y'all. Just gonna start cleaning up all that karma that we be throwing around, the energy that we putting out. It's very easy if we just start with the 4 agreements. But yamas and niyamas, self-control and restraint. Observations and restraints. Us in America don't like restraints. What up, though?
There's a tangent. The only time I've worked on or used the mind palette was when I was in astral projection training. Could we do some of that Thursday? I got you off scene. Off camera. I got you off camera for that. We'll talk about it. Yes, sir. What happened was learning not to lay things around your cosmic house. I was like, oh, I haven't really done anything with my cosmic house like that. Well, I guess the whole cosmic house we're talking about us and other dimensions, period. But we're talking about the mind house that we built specifically for processes. I haven't been there now. I'm not sure how. It could be a metaphor for our lives, our cosmic palace. It could be a metaphor for like the direction we're going on and stuff. I'm not 100% sure. It seemed more allegorical, but the inner citadel of the mind space. Oh, for sure. I be in that zone every day. I be kicking. And the visualization technique that I encourage people to use within the Sith meditation is a very good starting point to
become
aware of
things
consciously that aren't happening around you.
I'll take that. Ryan's looking to record too. But
very selective with my words on this.
Say what?
I said
we're very selective with my words on this, but we're saying pretty much the same thing.
I know.
Okay.
Good.
We're in alignment.
Moving forward.
Long as a month. Alright.
This was a long week.
This was a long week or two.
The pain that we are ridding ourselves
of is the pain that we
would have
come to us in the future. It means you can't stop the pain of the present. Blah, 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 blah.
But how long?
We'll talk about it.
Self-control.
That's when I said opposite.
That's when I said
yamas and niyamas.
That kind of self-control
is more like
a pleasure.
A pleasure.
Replied the
Good.
captain.
I said.
Good.
And now
we should get on with what it means to avoid harming.
The master is beginning to discuss some things we do physically with our bodies, which is playing powerful. Later on, we'll get into things that we do with our words, with what we say. Lastly,
the things that we do
by just thinking.
So here,
he's saying
at the very beginning that we can plant immense good seeds if we're careful, never to cause anyone physical harm.
The first knee out.
The first yard.
What up, though?
Oh, I was late.
Oh,
Food.
The first
yama is ahimsa, non-violence.
What up,
though? Welcome. It makes a lot of sense that he starts with that. The captain thought out loud. If our whole goal with yoga is to clear up the problems with our health, to make our bodies and our hearts strong and clear, then of course the seeds we want to avoid the most are those that are dealing with harming others.
I looked out the
window for a moment and then came back to me.
That last
thing you said about harming others, it gives me a thought. I mean,
you know what it
is to hurt someone physically. We don't need to talk about that. So perhaps
the most important
thing we can do today is to talk about some
ways
of causing harm that are not so obvious.
And also talk
a bit about the practical details.
By
practical details.
Suppose you go up
to someone and tell them that avoiding physical harm to others is the key to success in yoga.
That if you
have in your mind seeds of never hurting others, then you will get very good at poses and sitting and breathing, and it will all have extraordinary effect on your body and your happiness too.
The normal
reaction you get from the most people through though is something like, well, actually, I don't have any problems that way at all.
I have never
say
killed or
seriously injured a person, and almost never in my life struck another person.
So I would guess that
yoga should start working well for me right away.
But then maybe
it only works for them some, or
only slowly,
or maybe not much at all. What's making the difference?
And they start to wonder
why it's
important. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can still hear you.
Okay. Well, we gonna keep going on IG, YouTube, Facebook. We just gonna pause for a moment. give it a moment to just cool off. And we just gonna keep the party going. Okay. And they start to wonder why it works different for different people. You see, the vast majority of seeds that run our lives haven't come from major events like murdering another person or stealing all the money saved from the business we work for. It's not large single actions that plant most of our seeds. Rather, it's the small actions, the words and the thoughts that we do on a constant basis over the length of our lifetime. And so when we want to turn the seeds around, the best way to start with the very small, continual things we do from day to day. If we're trying to learn not to harm others, for example, we might just look around us for small ways that we can protect the health and lives of others. Maybe it's just picking up a piece of paper off the floor because someone might come along and slip on it and hurt themselves. Maybe it's just deciding not to talk or eat while we drive a cart down the road, knowing that one day the distraction could cause us to hurt someone seriously by accident. Maybe it's going out of our way to say something encouraging to someone someone at work who seems tense, knowing that this emotion will hurt them physically if they keep it up over a few years' time. What I'm talking about is maintaining a consistent, modest, joyful state in the mind, which is always looking for ways to protect others from harm. All day long, just in the little world we live in. This is the most powerful and at the same time most enjoyable way to plant the seeds in our mind that would take us to highest goals of life. The captain started to look around at the papers that still covered the good parts of the floor on the office. It was a good start. Concentrating on the small things has another advantage, I said. We can call it the fortress principle. If you're a great king with lots of treasure and a family to protect, you might want to build a wall around your palace. And then just to make sure that no one ever breaches that wall, you might want to put in a moat around the outside of the wall. Anybody gets over the wall because they never even get past the moat. And then, if you're really serious, you might plant a lot of nasty thorn bushes around the outside of the moat itself, because if no one ever even gets as far as the moat, then certainly no one will get through the wall. It's just like a group of concentric circles, rings of protection within rings of protection. Having an enemy break through the outside ring represents, say, causing harm to someone else by accident or neglect or negligence. If you are always careful and aware not to harm others this way, then you will obviously never do something, a small harm on purpose, which would be like having an enemy slip across the moat. And if you never purposely do a small harm to anyone, then of course you will never see your enemy break through the inside wall, which would be something very serious, say killing another human being intentionally. And so living with the small things, thinking constantly all day about even very small things we can do to protect the lives and happiness of others, simple, powerful consideration for those around us. Really, it's the key to the treasure house of the seeds within our minds. I looked up at the captain and decided he needed a break. It was a lot to digest in one day. I'll tell you what, I said. You try over the next week to think about some of those gray areas, about things that may or may not cause harm to others. Things you're not quite sure about. I have them ready when we start next time. The captain smiled. He loved questions. And that's what made him such a perfect student. Of course, I was still careful not to tell him so, because, a big head doesn't make a perfect student or teacher.
chapter 33. Difficult questions and difficult answers. It seems like 33 gonna be fun. It seems like 33 gonna have some ratchet answers. And I'm here for it.
Yep.
I am here for it. Yeah. Oh,
it came back on. Right. So we almost.
What else we got?
Difficult questions, difficult answers next week. Next week's gonna be. I already know that the debauchery, the ratchetness are gonna start. You're gonna dive into some of these questions that he's got coming up. I'm here for it.
With that being said,
I highly encourage you.
You got any questions?
Anything you want to add?
No, I'm just about to say how much I like questions. Like, I understand that questions are key to your communication. I understand things. Knowing what you don't know is the best way or the first step to good learning for me. So like this next chapter might be my favorite.
I'm excited, y'all.
Y'all need to check in next week. We got some ratchet questions. Apparently,
I'm ready for it.
I'm ready for
or at least some revealing.
questions.
We'll see what happens. With that being said, check out the retreat.
We're gonna be transforming and tranquil as the globe. It's myself and Nadia's thoughts. We got some sound healing. We got some yoga. We got some version play. If you with the shenanigans, you already know.
Great space
to reflect, to write your journal, to see what comes up in this time. And I always say with the sips and whatnot,
write it out.
Write it out. It's cathartic. It allows us to
see what's
inside of us. It's hard to see ourselves. So, seeing how we express things and what we express gives us a better example of the light that we shine. So do that.
What else is there?
And come tap in for the physical portion of the practice at Sun and Moon Yoga, Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 9. We have a leg class at Saturdays at 8. Also, we have
Ashtanga
Mind Store, 10 to 12 at Flow Yoga Center, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Tap in, y'all.
Let's get it. I'm ready to grow. I hope you are too.
Get one of
the life formats so we can be vibing and you ain't slipping just because you sweat. Questions, comments, want to work on something, excited to grow with me.
Check out the website,
uedc.com for the services. Interested in other offers Yogi has, floatyogi.com. Pay Ogre, check them out. Brent, another one, check them out. Peace. You